Right. Who's out there? Mhm. Mm. Right. What's this up to? Ooh. Hello, someone. Ouch. Hmm. Hello. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I can't remember what the daily update was today. It was another day all blurred together. Price go up, price go down. I think it was actually looking relatively bullish, and then they kind of trolled it just before the end of the day, which kept it a little bit restrained. I've spent most of my day staring at um range structure and noticed that there is a large amount of reversals that even if there is continuation, there are a large amount of reversals that happen here. There's one, I think this one didn't quite work, but that would be, where is it? There. It didn't quite get back up to the level. So yeah, just been going through and seeing if there's any kind of consistent tradable pattern to that, which it appears there might be. So that one doesn't really quite touch properly. Which makes you wonder if it's going to come back down here. That one does. Arguably doesn't quite touch the line. Doesn't. Until there. Comes back there and there. There to there. Doesn't quite touch the line. Gets pretty close. But definitely there. If not just that. Very, very obvious. Overshoots, but it does come back. Same there. That never reaches the top. Then it's pretty much in reverse. So this took a pretty big nosedive today, which has left those two levels there as possible levels that it might retrace to. It seems to be trying to ladder up. Yeah. There you go. Bigger scale, 44 day, but still. And so that one, that'd want to come back up here. And that one's already done. That's how high did we go today? Yeah, we would have done that today. 69.445. Yeah, so that candle's already gone up and bounced between those two. So yeah, that's boring stuff I've been doing all day. So yeah, that's not done. So it'd be good to get some probabilities around these. So you'd expect that to come back up here. It may just be taking its time and making hold levels and breaking trends and doing all the other stuff it has to do to get there. Never know. What's that on the table? Or does it? Because that already did it. Yeah, that went down and then back up. Maybe that does it. Testing, testing, testing. Makes you wonder if it's as simple as this. We are slowly moving back to 77. I guess we'll see. All right. So untouched break levels. Seems a bit weird there isn't a untouched origin to the upside. Strange. Maybe I was scrolling too fast. And there they go. Maybe we should get a different color for those. So where is that? 89. Hmm. See if I can freeze the computer. It's usually a good idea to turn off some stuff before trying to load the entire one day. Yeah, I guess it kind of depends what it's bouncing off. I mean, there's a massive amount of hold levels that we ran into as we hit around anything below 63. So basically 63 down, there was just tons of hold levels, and they're really high probability ones as well. So just those alone can send it back up to 80k. The Without all the range stuff, which also seems to be pretty probable. Yeah, what was I doing? Give me that. Yeah. So origin, origin on the daily. And there's that weird bounce between 4 and 3. I can't quite read that. Does that say? You're my favorite. Fair enough. You do have to wonder sometimes what's what is actually a near miss and whether or not that would qualify as a hit. Like $40. Yeah, I don't know if there's any structure to 58k outstanding. There's something to 56, and there's levels at 58 to be tested, but you've got. So this level here at 60, that was created as part of that last dip. So we're basically making support, which is bullish for continuation, really. We might end up with a range between here. So this 69 break level there on the daily, if this candle doesn't come back up and test that today, then that becomes the origin breakout level. And maybe the first rejection of that comes back down to these lower levels. I guess you just have to see what happens if all they have to do is just touch that again today and it just stays as a break level and never becomes higher resistance. As long as the price just reaccumulates to it each day, it can do that for a week and then break it, and it's still just a break level. Hmm. Kind of makes you wonder what New York's going to do. Yeah. I mean, I don't know whether people would be totally bullish looking at this. It's still trending down just in that area after that dip. I can see a lot of longs piling in if it gets up above that 72 area, and then ironically that's where it'll probably reject anyway once it's up there. So if it went up there, people would go, cool, it's breaking again, probably chase it, and then maybe it does an arc and pulls back down. Speaking of which, what's arc up to? Yeah. It's not breaking out yet. Yeah. There's also just stuff like this. This is where you put that "Hello Darkness, my old friend" meme on. So anything up in here is danger zone, really, because we've got this target now sitting down here. They stayed down just long enough for this to get created, which this has only existed for 3 days, so it's gives you a bit of an idea. Stay down just long enough to create a massive brick wall to the upside, and then pump straight into it. So yeah, the question is more: do the longs and the retracements play out, because they're kind of smaller time frame and they could play out before this thing really needs to be rolling over and going down, or is there just simply no rally and does it just hit this brick wall and go down? Guess we'll see. Or does it magically fail and just end up pumping for the next 341 days and closing over the top of this candle and getting back on top of the trend and then going up? But I'd probably put that as the least probable thing to happen. Before this, I think we just had something like this, which was, yeah, that was our first big short. So just created the hold, ran into it from the wrong side, and down it goes. Who else is out there? What's going on? Yeah, patience. I mean, even in this case, the entry was 94 and it went to 97,888. And funny thing is, 97,888 was that the range retracement thing that I've been looking at today. If you look at that particular level, look at that particular level on TradingView. So BTC. One of these ranges got completely blown through. I think it was this one. Yeah. So this got completely blown through, had no retracement at this point back to that third level. And then after all this time here, so this is building that really big short, all of this, 290-day short, sorry, 209-day short is building through here. And then that's as high up as it went into the candle before it did that. We all know the rest. So, it went below the daily range, never retraced, spent a long time obviously building the position, wick up to sweep the liquidity from the top side, completes the move back to the 3 of the broken range, and zooming out, it was this. Lurker. Jelly jelly. Oh wow. Troll. Don't break. Dump. Origin first touch rejection. That would have been a good short, apart from that ginormous wick, but it's come down to where it should. So yeah, that could have been a long. Could have been in that. Just keep an eye on it and see if it creates a daily range. Wonder what that insider trading expose thing is that's getting announced today. It'd be funny if it's crypto banter. Okay, you're done. Nice little trend breaks, these. Hardly any wicks, or wicks are not big enough to restrict the next candle. Oh, got a weekly. This could probably really die at some point. Once that massive candle there kicks in. It's huge. Yeah, that's like total center zero stuff if it spends too much time below there. At the moment, it's actually acting as support. Does Tau still exist? This used to be really violent, fun for trading. It's not even that old. Must be older charts than that. Yeah, there we go. Yup. What's going on? Yeah, TIA. Yeah, I remember TIA. Don't know how I ended up with some of that. Some airdrop or something. Wow. But I mean, that's kind of a good example of, pretty much center zero structure. The range is off the chart. And of course it goes and makes that one in the middle of it. Then it's just time. Eventually it's going to die. A little bounce off that level there. In here. Yeah. Tries to create a range, fails, engulfs, closes inside the hold level, rejects off the reversed hold. Problem there is you don't have another reversed hold. So once it rejects off that thing, it's just nothing there anymore. Dead. Sometimes these can run after a lot of accumulation, so like, yeah. At the end of the day, someone's buying that at a very, very, very low price. And then all they have to do is break a trend and send it up into the hold or the break. And if they're buying everybody's tokens at 30 cents or whatever, and then they pop the thing and send it up into the hold, well, it's still not a bad 4x. So you could actually probably set an alert on that. Should I do that? Indicators. Come on. Come on, TradingView. Don't make me click you again. Then you get it 5 times. Oof. And forget it. What's this up to? So just sort of expecting that box to possibly be the extent of the rally, or at least conservative extent of the rally, now that we've hit the bottom of the monthly distribution. Hurry up. Mm. Wonder what happens if Jane Street loses that lawsuit about Luna. Like realistically, where does that money actually go? Probably to the estate, I guess. What's happening? Anything interesting happening on X? Nope. Yep. Boring markets. Let's have a look at what we got closing in today. It's like a preview of tomorrow's video. So the main level really is that one, that's 69,145. If it closes up over that, then it can actually do a pretty decent pump off that because that's this old origin created here, shot right through, hard closed, retest. So I don't think the break level would really stop it if it ended up closing up over that. And same level, same price, same level, then everything else above is just a break. And trend break on the 3-day. So as long as they don't dump that in the next 14 hours, might end up closing inside the hold and get a trend break. Maybe even engulf, maybe even create a range. It's looking, if they were to push the price up to that 69,145, it would actually be also creating that. And there's no break level here. So that could be breakout tomorrow. So here's a good example of how you could then have a breakout tomorrow, head up into the 70s, but in doing so, you're pushing up through that third level of this range that goes back to the beginning of the bull market. And then if you reject off that level, target's down here at 56. So it could go up, break out, come back down at the target. And that target's already done a bounce there too. So that's how these magical numbers like 40 suddenly appear in your eyes, because that's already had a bounce of support. Yeah, and so this has got levels around 78. So it's pulling out of the hold, so it doesn't look like it's going to close inside there. So if it stays over, well, assuming they keep it over 67,108 for the day, then that's just another hold that's been exited. So more of a reason to push up into that 77, 78, 80 area, where of course it could then reject and come back down. Level 3, 59, which it didn't quite touch. Level 4, 40. So this is closing inside the hold. So if it was to come up and do a retest, it could retest up to the top of the hold here, which would be 97. So that's a bit higher than everything else, but it doesn't necessarily mean it will do that. That's kind of the extent of it. Could head up there, hit that, come down. But it's coming out of this hold, so therefore 72. It also hasn't done a bounce from the 1 to the 1618 there, so that's 86. So there's quite a bit on there that could at least get it to Wow, 72, 73 almost. 86. It's also pretty probable. Eek. Hmm. It's a pretty good tool this for swing trading. I mean, like when it blasted through here and landed and all of this, because it closed down here, it was probably going to come up and test all these holds as reverses. So it's, yeah, that's what it's done, and then it's rejected back to these, and of course it's closed back up inside the short holds. So now these are actually supports, and then it's pushing back up again. So welcome to the wonderful world of you probably only needed to do two things: long here when it closed, TP anywhere in that mess, and then you can take another long there, or you could short there, whatever. But it's if you're not trading on leverage, it's pretty easy. Long lines, TP lines. What about the next day? Do wonder about that. When I was going through all of the fib moves that have not moved between 3 and 4, or 4 and 3, the highest one I could find was about that. It was actually exactly that. It's about 100k. Not quite 101, but it was 100.4. So this is 2 days, or 1 day, 14 hours from now. So spoiler alert, if we are actually, for whatever reason, over that 74,466 break level, when this thing closes, it will probably go for that 100, 460 hold. And that would then tick all of those minimum retracements that we've been kind of throwing theories around about in the Discord. I wonder if it's got a trend. It does. Why did that reject early? It has to be this. Nope. That's interesting. Yeah, 137.9. Hmm. Yeah. Oh well. If it comes up here and hits that, it kind of fixes almost like a little imbalance that just really shouldn't be there. So if it does do that, you heard it here first. Order books fixing themselves. Ooh. All right. Yeah. It was nice to hang out for a bit. I might go and sleep. Oh, morning. Okay, maybe I won't go sleep. You're saying morning. That's just rude. It's actually not that late here either. Seemed like Sol and BTC have been a little bit pampy. Just needs to keep touching this level. However, we do have a 4-hour origin up here now at 69,250. Um, I don't know whether it's before continuation or whether it happens and then you just get a reversal. It's more a case of the theory is that it is highly likely that it happens. So if it hasn't happened yet, say for example you've got a short which has hit the fourth level, if it hasn't actually gone back to the third, then the theory would be that there could be some upside at some point, and that's sort of what we're seeing a lot of just at the moment. Is we've hit a lot of these level fours or completed the full range of the shorts. Yeah, and it looks like we're bouncing back up. But if it's all fractal, what that also means is that at some, and that's why I've got this little box sitting here. What it also means is that at some point we're probably going to end up back down here, which could happen in any time really. I mean, we may just not quite touch this level, turn it into an origin, reject off it on the next candle, and come back down in here. That's possible. I mean, it could just go down. It does have a hold. Or maybe they're going to wait for New York and push up and hit this origin up here and then come back down. So yeah, we've got this level down here at 66,482. We haven't retested since doing the hard close, so we're just sort of floating around up here. It makes sense to come down here. Haven't retested the range trend either, so kind of makes sense to come down for a few reasons. But yeah, one of those examples I think we picked up earlier in the video was it was left behind for a very long time, and then it was basically hit during 1010. So it just the wick came down from all-time highs and just smacked straight into it and ticked the box. So there's not really enough data recorded yet on it. So I've got timestamps and when ranges reach the fourth level, but what I don't have is when do they go back. So hopefully the devs will add that before not too long. I should probably stop asking them to do things. So I've got a few little test cases just watching here, like does it apply to market caps as an example? So if it does, then we'll be heading from 45 billion to 63 billion. If it does. I mean, it's not too hard to back test it. You've just got to find fourth levels that have been touched, like to the cent there, from all the way back here. And that one only has to get back to 53. And if it does get back to 53, then it's completed the move from that range candle back there. And clearly that's completed because of all that. So is this because of that big dump. That would have as well because of the pullback. It's probably completed before. Yeah, so it's this doji candle in here. So resistance, back here, continuation. But I don't think it necessarily means guaranteed continuation. I think it just means it's going to do this at some point. And there's a few scenarios where it comes right out the top of the range and then comes back in like that. So yeah, we'll gather some more info on it. Oh, blue's awake. that candle there. And then that one didn't reverse it. Obviously went up, did its thing, came down, big dump. That candle there. Because of this all the way back here. So that's kind of why I'm interested. I want to know when we hit these things, because if that's actually something that's 90+% probable, then it's very much tradable. That there. So yeah, that's the theory. See how it looks once we've got a massive amount of data to check through. Yeah, so not exactly like it's a move. It'd be, for example, it'd be a retrace in a short, or it would be a retrace in a long. So you'd be shorting once it comes back in. And you could probably look at it from another perspective. Once it, if it blasts through the top of the range, you could wait for it to actually come back into the range, and then know that that's pretty much where the target is going to be. Yeah, or the other way around. See, it's even just here, level 4, bounce back up to level 3. Which then makes you wonder, is this going to go to here? Because if we do go back to 2.25 trillion, that's a pretty good rally across the market. So what have we got? 2 days, 14 hours here. So if you're up over 2.1 in 2 days and 14 hours, the chances of, based on everything you just saw about these moves between these levels, the chances of us then heading back up here to 2.25, could be quite high. Man, there's only 2 people watching this thing. Crypto's dead. Time to rally. Now, apart from like a couple of really, really compressed days, it obviously depends on what you're trading, but like with Sol and BTC, we've had a couple of really compressed days, which has been pretty hard to get any kind of trades in on. But every day there's been a trade. Like if you're just focusing on adding 1% to your portfolio every single day, then it doesn't really matter what the market does. Total market cap excluding BTC and stables, 4 to 3. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Trend, break. Maybe even back to the reverse hold, which kind of lines up with the retest of the range trend. I sound too bullish, don't I? All we need is a hard close of 89. Pop. Yeah. They could be closing time frames so much worse than what they're doing. Like all the high time frame stuff is actually exiting the hold levels and opening new candles, so it's very sneaky bullish. To be fair, I really thought that we would have got that good close today. Just the way they moved up so quickly, it would have trapped a whole bunch of people who were shorting at the bottom of the range, and it was such a troll move. The way that they opened that candle just on top of the daily trend, super troll. So yeah, I thought we would have got up here at least, and then maybe tomorrow we did that, but there's plenty of stuff going on. 3-day trend breaks, price bouncing between range levels. In general, it looks like there is a possible upside there. Yet. 2 people. What's everyone doing? I suppose America's asleep, right? It's kind of late in Australia. America's asleep. There is still part of me though that just wonders if they're just going to reject straight off that 344 day and just go to 40k. Especially with this whole regulation, Jane Street, it's all over. Bitcoin went up the moment the lawsuit happened, that kind of narrative. If people heavily go on leverage now, while we're already pushing into a 68 to 40k hold, It's kind of asking for trouble. Oh, we touched it. Gets to stay a break level. At least for another 5 hours and 41 minutes. Yeah. Kind of got to watch that range trend there as well. So you got your untested hold down there at 64.6. And you've got that range trend which hasn't had a first touch yet. So it's nearly 69. Well, actually, sorry, it's about 69.8. So, yeah. It don't. You look at this, it's pretty fair to say people have started longing this. So if we did a retest of that 3 on the 4-hour chart, it's going to put us down into here. If we go hit that hold, we're going to be down here. Range trends up here. Do you think there is more money in trapping longs? No, I mean ultimately there's more money in trapping shorts if you can keep people adding to them, because effectively they're infinite loss as long as people keep adding. You can only lose a certain amount on a long. So kind of the trick to trapping longs is to give them enough hope that they add to their positions to try and average them out, and then go back down again, trap them again. What's going on there? Yeah. Be interesting to see what New York does. Whether it does a little push up first. Then comes down. That's what I would do. Assuming that I wanted to do a rally, I'd push up first to the range trend, which means that this break doesn't convert to an origin because you'd have to touch that to get to the range trend. Reject back to the hold, which flushes out all the longs, and even more so because people will chase that if that starts to pump. And then I'd come back up again, so basically up, down, up, and then get up over these top levels to continue on. What do I know? crystal ball doesn't quite work like that. Um, do you think there is more money? Well, actually, kind of the other thing is it's about how to get price from A to B. So if you hit a long stop loss, it's a sell, a market sell. So if there's enough sells because there's enough longs in the market and there's not so many buys. So for example, once you hit a certain amount of leverage, it means that people have gone kind of like max long on their accounts. They don't necessarily have a lot of money left to buy. And so therefore there would also not be a lot of buys in the market. So if you then went and hit stop losses and started that cascade, you don't have to sell your own assets to drive the price down. It's just the stop losses getting hit that's actually driving the price down. And particularly if there's no buyers to balance them out. So yeah, I guess it's a couple reasons why they'd want to induce longs. One is because they want to take those longs, but the other one is because they want to use them to reach a lower level. Right. Hey, 4 viewers and 4 likes. Whoa. Anyone new, or is it all regulars? Or 2 people and 2 bots? 2 people, 1 lurker, and 1 bot. I think we're sitting at 785 subscribers. I think. Yep. And 2 members. 2 members. It's gone up 1. Thank you, Jay. So if this stays yellow, it's going to hard close these 4-hour origins here as well at 86. 86.7, 86.6. There's still a few levels there for retest, like 85.5. 81. What's it doing? Oh, come on. Get out. Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely good to see it pump. It's been getting kind of frustrating just those last couple of days, just knowing that it's sitting on support and just wondering why is it not moving? It's like someone just had it chained there. But time fixed that. It gets closer to close, and then yeah, just stuff we've been through plenty of times in this cycle where price just goes down, hangs out down, and then on the last day of the candle goes rushing back to the upside. Good old Trump pumps and dumps. Basically maximum capitulation time spent. Look how many trends this thing's broken. Go up already. Yeah. Yeah, it's all part of it, really. It it actually means someone wants to buy what you have, and when it comes to assets that they're still interested in keeping through the next cycle, that is. Of course, there will be things that they're just really not interested in buying off you. I'm really hesitant, but I want to look at Zeus. Told myself I'd never look at Zeus again. Let's look at Zeus, just for old times. I mean, it did look at some point like it was, oh, the symbol does not exist. Awesome. It did look like it was going to bounce off 1.5 cents or something. Um, oh, yeah. It's done a couple of bounces. Hell, it's even got a hold level. Oh, no, it was just Marty. When it was $1, I think, he was telling everybody that it was the best technology ever and accumulate it. And as you can see, that was pretty much the top. So yeah, this is where Marty said to accumulate, and somewhere down here, I think, is where he deleted posts and ignored its existence. Yeah. keen to see if this has had a bounce. Oh, can't get to level 4. It's below 0. What about that? Oh. No. Oh, wait. Oh, you gotta wonder, eh? Is it worth just buying some Zeus for that? The possibility of that? Hmm. There's a lot of volume here. Someone's buying that off people. This is tempted silence. Oh, tempted silence. Can we find a reason why it might do that? Well, we've definitely had a couple of trend breaks. We've created an origin. Okay, so if it gets over that, where is the next origin? It's there. The next break level is there. Next untested broken break level is there. What else would it retest? Okay. Where can you buy Zeus? See, you go from, I'm never going to look at Zeus again until I might actually buy Zeus. I can buy it there. Okay. Interesting. They've only listed it in the last 4 weeks. What do they know? What are we thinking? Do we buy Zeus? Maybe run it up 1,000%? Maybe just take it to the retest even? Or do we wait for it to break the origin? Or close inside the hold? Or create a reversal? Let's see, do we have a reversal on the daily? We can create one off that. If it comes back there. There it was. Boom. There as well. And there. Madness. That whole thing is just origin reversals. Pop. Very tempting. It's probably also worth watching if it gets listed on more exchanges soon. Because if they're going to pump it up, they're going to want exit liquidity. It's much easier to get that if you're on more exchanges. Most OTC desks wouldn't hold smaller tokens. They could source them. So if you'd put an order in and then they would go and fill the order. Yeah, they can. They also can get them from validators and stuff like that as well. So it's not just they don't just source them on market. Treasuries, like whatever company is in charge of this token might have a treasury and might have some of their own tokens in it, and then an OTC desk could approach them and try to just get them that way. So yeah, but I don't think an OTC desk would probably touch this. I'd say this is so illiquid that if you probably tried to buy $10,000 of it on market, it would probably send it up here anyway. Although there might be a lot of people happy to sell it here, thinking it's dead. This will be a really good test case for the whole bounce back to 3 thing, though, because percentage-wise, it shouldn't really make any difference. It's just sitting here down at the 4 right now, and it hasn't done that move yet. So, hell, if we do get a rally, maybe this thing just jumps 1,000%. Hurry up. Tired of drawing trend lines. Just going to move one. That one. Okay. Put it up here. Just where I can see it. And go on. Yeah, I'm actually tempted just to put like $1,000 on it or something. Who cares? Let it. It either goes up 1,000% or you lose $1,000. It's very tempting. We'll see if ARK plays out. So ARK's got 2 of them. It's got this 15-minute range in here. Hasn't come back up to here yet. And that's the daily. Yeah. See, the thing with Arc is um, you kind of, well, I didn't zoom out far enough, which we were looking at from a weekly perspective because it showed some pretty good weekly structure, but it actually did have monthly structure. So that was a lesson learned. I mean, it was good in a way because the instruction was be careful at the break level because you never know what's going to happen. And sure enough, it rejected the break level. But there was actually on the weekly, the break level was the same. So that's it there. But where it goes a bit pear-shaped is you've got a weekly hold down here, but that break level is actually a monthly level. And unless you'd zoomed out, you wouldn't have known it. And then sitting up just a bit higher was the weekly range here. And as you can see, we've hit the 1618 and gone all the way down to the 2. So kind of knowing those 2 bits of information, you would have definitely taken it more seriously to TP at the monthly break, but also you wouldn't have longed that hold. You would have looked at it more from this sort of perspective of, well, we've got a monthly break. So it's just kind of hanging around there. So it'll be interesting to see if the daily reverses and that 15-minute reverses, because we are coming off some pretty big resistance. So whether this comes up, hits here, here, then maybe dumps further down and goes to that monthly hold, very possible. Maybe it just dumps, comes back up, and does these as part of the hold. Maybe it doesn't go to these at all. It's a problem with theories. Yeah. Got a little 15-minute origin sitting there. Let's see how they handle this. Hover for 7 minutes, open under trend, create a hold, create a range, hit it, bit of a bounce, break it, or hit it before close, go up. I mean, it already looks like it's downtrending, just on the hourly there. Range, smaller one. There's a little tiny that's quite a tricky level. So that's kind of like a little origin, but it doesn't exist yet until this candle closes. So sometimes if they want to dump tokens, what they do is they create this structure, then they bring that down just on close, close under it, and then reject off it to come down. So it's quite tricky, subtle little structure there. What the hell? OpenAI employees, AI agent accidentally sent 442k to Beggar. How does a beggar have a crypto wallet? So the other thing can happen is that could go up a little bit, creates this little range trend in here, can bounce. So it's all just sneaky, sneaky price action. Gotta wait, see how it closes. Yeah, I might just see how this closes. Give it another few minutes. I get the funny feeling I'm going to miss out on some good scalps if I go to sleep. There's just so many longs have chased this pump. So I took TPs at 89 and 89.7, wherever that was. I also had one sitting there, which I just got tagged up here. Just thought that was quite lucky. But if we do go on a nice dip to the downside, I wouldn't mind adding back. Hey, guess who's back? Back again. Oops. Come on, bounce. LSE, LSE. Ooh, that took a tumble. Looks kind of like a shitcoin. It's just, well, it looks roughly like it's just hit that weekly support. Nearly. Stocks can be a little funky like this though, because that it opened up there with an offset and it's just bounced above that level. So, might actually be a touch. So you can see the in range origin, rejection, in range origin, target. I mean, if it stays above 1579, you can probably expect it to bounce back up into the hold. But if it ends up below that, not so much. Down it goes. How high? How long's this thing been around for? Quite a while. Yeah, so there won't be a huge amount of high time frame support in here. Just like if you think about engulfed candles, what you need is you need a good candle that goes down to be engulfed by something that goes up. Like so time versus time. So if this was your down period and this was your up period, there's your engulfment, there's your minimum move based off here to here, and your whatever target's up here. So when you've got something that's never really had that down period to engulf, because this is sort of like there's your down period, so let's say that's a candle, and here was your up candle, and so here is your support, to take you that way. But what it doesn't really have is it doesn't really have big drawdowns until here. So that's quite big. Problem with this one is we're already kind of below that drawdown. So it's quite likely whatever structure in there has been broken down in here. So if you look at it sort of from that perspective, there's not really going to be a huge amount of high time frame support on something like this until one day, if it ever recovers that. Shoot up to the sky. So let's see what the biggest range is. Interesting. Didn't quite bounce perfectly back up to that line, but still interesting. That one didn't really bounce properly. I don't know if that can really recover in the next couple of months looking at that. You've got this 2-month origin here and it's kind of been broken through by that trend, but it hasn't closed blue. So maybe it's going to get back out of here. If it closes a high time frame, so 2-month candle, over that 1689, that might mean some reason to long it. And I'd probably look at, funnily enough, a retest of the bottom of that range would probably be the target. But I'd wait for it to get over this trend and at least break the trend over that level. Oh, is it an alcohol company? We definitely should support them. This is my first sober live stream in a while. There was our little origin bounce. Wrong side of trend. Yeah, I kind of looked at Zeus. I know I said I wouldn't. But there is that slim chance that it might move 1,000% to the upside. Which still doesn't help the people that bought it at $1. They'll still be down quite a bit. But yeah, I'm just kind of looking at it. There's 4-hour origin levels in here. We've got a daily hold. We've tested the break, created an origin. We've tested the hold. It's possible that this thing is gonna reverse. And also just looking at this bigger than average volume kind of makes you wonder if people have finally been sold down to the point of despair and now the whales are buying it off them. So yeah, I have set an alert on Zeus. Shut up. And let's talk about Soul Market Cap. No, I have not been accumulating under $1 Marty. I wonder what his Zeus bag looks like. Down 99%. Getting pretty close to monthly close too, so they could completely wreck that. This would have been such a good pump if it had closed the candle under here. Good pump for risk assets. $12, go down. Could get a weekly hold. There's that 4 back to 3 thing again. Damn it. Makes you wonder. uh, yep. All right, so they didn't close under it. Interesting. Now I just need to see if the 4-hour hard closes all of these origins. Yellow candle on the 4-hour and 46 minutes. Please and thanks. No wick would be good. Move trend. Bounce. Time is 11:14. I might go and tempted to say sleep for a couple of hours and then get up. Maybe see what New York does. Which probably means I'll just hop in bed, go to sleep, and not get up. Because bed's really comfortable. Hmm. Are you waiting on the weekly close? Not really. No. I think the monthly will be more important than the monthlies before the weekly. So, yeah, at this stage, it'd be good to see this change, but that means somewhere in the next 2 days, 13 hours, we really need to see that dump. Because at the moment, you can see we've got the weekly looks like kind of structure we want, but the monthly doesn't. So I think this is going to be more important. And probably need to check some of the bigger monthly rollovers will probably be happening as well. But there's just a lot of stuff pointing up. And it'll be little things like, does this creep back up above, 2.1, 2.12, that sort of area? If this creeps back up there, it's probably going to that. And even just really big stuff like 6 months, which is still got a long time to go on it, but it's a trend dive. It's diving through a break level. It's just slowly creeping back towards the levels. So it's probably going up. Then you look at a 15-minute chart and it just looks like crap. It's got all these ones to retest down here, so it kind of needs to come down and say hi to these lines. Come on. Don't go back into those levels. Grr. Yeah, monthly. Yeah, I think the short for 56 mind you, actually, the short for 56 is pretty irrelevant now. The short for 56 was something like a 5-month level, and now we've got bigger than 5-month levels in play, so it's just a case of when do we get the real bottom? Cycle wise, it should be out here. So realistically, it should be September, October. And it should go for enough time for them to accumulate. This would just be the weirdest bottom ever if it just came down, went up from here. Just doesn't seem right. Where's the time? Right. Okay. Well, good night, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons and all that other YouTube influencer crap. And might wake up for New York. We'll see. We'll see. We'll just enjoy the comfort of bed. Right. See yous.